We have JP Ricciardi on the horn with us here to give us a preview of the World Series. If you don't know who JP Ricciardi is, he's the host of the Brushback Podcast. You can listen to it wherever you get your podcasts. Great baseball podcast. And JP has a ton of experience, over 40 years in Major League Baseball, worked every job, including 8 years as GM of the Toronto Blue Jays. And JP, thanks, man, for joining us.
Oh, my pleasure. It's great to be on, especially on the eve of the World Series.
I know. This is very exciting. This is literally a classic matchup, Yankees-Dodgers. So
yeah, I hope it lives up to its billing. I hope that, sometimes these things get so built up. It's like the Super Bowls, and they don't live up to it. But this is, potentially 7 games. So, and, you go back, I was telling both of my boys, I said, you realize since the 40s, I don't think there's been a decade where the Yankees and Dodgers have not played each other in the World Series. They played each other in the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. Maybe the 90s was the one time they didn't play each other. I'm not 100% sure, but, you think about the history of this dating back to both of them being in New York, and I think this is so good for baseball. I know a lot of people don't feel that way, but I think you've got the best teams. You've got the best players. I'm really excited to watch the World Series.
Both these teams have just the best players. What advantages do the Yankees have going into this, and how do you think the Dodgers will counteract those advantages?
I think the advantages the Yankees have are Cole and Rondon. If Cole and Rondon can pitch the way they're capable of pitching, you're going to have to face them in a 7-game series, 5 of those games. So if the series goes 7, you're going to have to face Cole 3 times and Rodon twice. Now, if they're capable of pitching the way they're capable of, I think the advantage goes to the Yankees. But, we all know that the best laid plans don't always work out. I think that's the one advantage the Yankees have is the starting pitching. If they pitch up to their potential, I think they're going to be tough to beat. Now, on the Dodgers' flip side, what Flaherty you're going to get? You're going to get the Flaherty that absolutely stood one team on their ears one game and then came back and actually laid an egg. So, I think the Dodger pitching is definitely a little bit more of a question mark, but it's also they have the capabilities of stepping up and pitching, really well. I'm not sure Yamamoto is going to give you more than 5 innings, but he could stand you on your head for 5 innings. And one thing the Dodgers bullpen has been able to do is showed you that they can lengthen the game. So I think as good as the talent is in this series from a player standpoint, I think like any short series, it's going to come down to pitching. And I got the Yankees in 7. I just think I have to go with their pitching. But you've got the MVP in the National League, and you've got the MVP in the American League. I mean, this is like Mantle against Mays. This is what every kid dreams about when they're thinking about World Series and thinking of the great World Series and the matchups and, the best players. So, a couple of question marks. Freddie Freeman's health, if he's able to play, obviously that makes their lineup a little different. If Rizzo can give them a little bit more from an offensive standpoint, that lengthens the Yankee lineup out. But here's the key for me outside of the pitching. Soto, Judge, and Stanton all performed well offensively. If any one of those combinations, whether it's the Dodgers or the Yankees, performs well, that could hit through the pitching. And it usually doesn't happen if you think about it. Good pitching stops good hitting. But, man, the Yankees with Soto, Judge, and Stanton, they answer the bell. Yeah. If Ohtani, Freeman, and Betts answer the bell, advantage Dodgers. So I got the Yankees, but I got it by a very, very slim margin. And I don't think I've been as excited for a World Series since, being in 3 with Oakland and being in 1 with the Mets. It's going to be great viewing.
Ohtani hasn't pitched all season because he hasn't fully recovered from his injuries yet. But is there a chance? Can he pitch if he's called on? Because, a lot of times they're going through as many pitchers as they can during the World Series. Is there a chance we'll see Ohtani step up on the mound? I
don't think so. I think, they want to just let this healing process take as much time as they can. There's no need to rush it at this point. You're putting unbelievable stress and an unbelievable stressful situation on a guy. Why risk it at this point, And I don't really know what his health is as far as I know he's been throwing some bullpens and things like that. But, as you've seen with a lot of these guys, you go from 0 to 100 and the game changes fast. So I think they'll bring him back next year. But their bullpen's good. The Dodgers got a good bullpen. The Yankees got a good bullpen. And, you got deep lineups. They both catch the ball relatively well. I think the one disadvantage the Yankees have is they have to open up on the road. And when you open up on the road, the number one thing you have to do is split. So I think that's a little bit of pressure on them. But if they split, they got to be feeling good about themselves.
It's just going to be there's going to be some amazing action there. I hope. I know we say this now,
yeah,
right,
no,
JP?
Listen, you're right. We can always go with the big buildup, and you end up getting a Patriots 16-7 Super Bowl or something like that. But
right.
I think I'm a little concerned about day 3, the game 3 starter for the Dodgers. I don't know if bullpen starts. If it's a 7-game series, they're going to have to start the bullpen guy twice. And I don't know if that's a favor at the Dodgers because I don't think it gets to 7 games if they have to do that. So if you think about it, game 3 and possibly game 6 would be a bullpen starter for them. So that's the one disadvantage I see for the Dodgers. But like I said, there's going to be someone that plays out of their mind in this World Series that no one predicted. And that's the fun thing about the World Series.
Yeah, and that's why I thought, because of the Dodgers situation, that's why I brought up the Ohtani question, that they would go to it. And, you're saying, like, why – I know you were saying, well, why do that now? Why force it now and re-injuring himself? But it is the World Series. And,
well, if they did that, I would tell you that they got a lot of guts. But – they know the player better than I do, and they know the situation better than I do, and they know how far along he is in his recovery. But, he hasn't been on a mound. It's a heck of a place to try it in the World Series.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing. If he's DHing, once he goes to the mound, you lose your DH.
That's true. So, you're right. Yeah, you don't want to lose him at the plate. That's for sure. Yeah.
Right.
JP Ricciardi, host of the Brushback Podcast, a great baseball podcast. You can listen to it wherever you get your podcast. Thank you very much for taking the time and giving us your insights, man. We appreciate it.
All right, Mike. Take care.